Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel, General Hospital Diaries. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Today on General Hospital, Dandy celebrates his birthday. Brooklyn and Chase reach a decision, and Felicia asks Carly for a favor. Jordan's packing up her office when Curtis walks in, so she really did resign. He asks what's going on, and Jordan explains she and Laura had differences of opinion, and she felt stepping down was the only option. Curtis isn't buying it. Okay, he says, what's the real story? He points out how composed she usually is, and the last time he saw her this rattled was when she was working undercover. I'm going to stop you right there, she interrupts. She made a promise not to lie to him again. It took a lot for them to rebuild what they had, so she asks him to respect that and accept her honesty at face value. Curtis concedes. He gave up the right to demand explanations when they split. He'll let it go, but not without a cost. Meanwhile, Olivia compliments Sonny's new place, saying she would have thrown Dan's birthday party at the Quartermains if it weren't for having to deal with Tracy. Just then, Lulu shows up, and Olivia greets her warmly. Lois arrives soon after with Christina, Danny, and Gio, whom she introduces to Lulu. Lulu flashes back to discovering Martin's notes about Dante and Brooklyn's child. Christina is about to go fetch Dante when Donna distracts her with her new desk. Sonny slips outside instead. Out on the patio, Dan checks in with Rocco, who eventually admits he's upset about his grandparents. He feels stuck in the middle and is afraid both of them being at his upcoming debate might just cause more tension. He wonders if it might be easier if his grandfather doesn't attend, just as Sonny walks up and hears him. That didn't sound like what I meant, Dan starts, but Sonny reassures him and gently asks Rocco to open up. Rocco shares his concerns about Sonny and Laura being seen together. Sonny understands and tells him to just make sure someone records the debate. He's proud that Rocco's looking out for his grandma. Once alone, Sonny assures Dante there are no hard feelings. Inside, the group sings happy birthday to Dante and cuts into a cake that looks far too small for the crowd. Lois tells Lulu how impressed she is by Sonny's unwavering support for Gio and the family. Then word gets out that Sonny won't be attending Rocco's debate after all. He says something came up. Olivia pulls him outside to confront him. She's furious, but Sonny stays calm. Dante follows them out and stands up for Sonny. Olivia, still angry, storms back inside. Dante offers to explain, but Sonny would rather Olivia be upset with him than put that on Rocco. At Alexis and Diane's office, Lucas warns Marco that Jason isn't someone you want to cross. Alexis enters and asks if Lucas is there to see her. Nope, he came to congratulate Marco on the new position. Might be a bit early for that, Alexis replies. Diane had filled her in on Marco's connection to Sidwell, which clearly surprises Lucas. Marco insists he didn't lie, he didn't hide anything, and no one asked him about his family background. Were the other candidates asked? Lucas leaves, and Alexis points out that sometimes omissions are just as serious as lies. Marco admits he left that part out on purpose. He assumed Alexis would understand. After all, she distanced herself from the Cassidy name and made her own way. That's all he wants. Alexis doesn't argue with that, but reminds him that Sidwell is his client, and she can't work with someone whose clients are at odds in dangerous ways. Marco just hopes she'll judge him for who he is, not who he's related to. Over at Carly's, she updates Felicia at the kitchen table about Michael's recovery. The skin grafts are healing, and he's determined to get back home. But she hasn't been able to tell him yet about Willow moving the kids in with Drew. She apologizes for ranting, and Felicia says she came over for a reason. Mac thinks this whole referendum on the Esplanade is painting Laura in a bad light, instead of her directly addressing Sonny herself. He believes Sonny should respect the outcome of the vote and not push back against it. Carly doubts that'll happen, which is why Felicia says someone needs to talk to Sonny and encourage him to accept the decision. Carly doesn't want to get involved in Sonny's affairs now that their relationship is finally in a good place. Felicia understands, but asks, if Sonny loses his control over the Piers, wouldn't that make Port Charles safer for everyone, including Carly's family? Maybe, but Carly's not sure it's even realistic. People don't usually just walk away from that kind of life. Lucas arrives, and Felicia takes that as her cue to go. As soon as she's gone, Lucas asks if Jason is targeting Miami Marco. Yup, he got a position with Alexis and Diane, and it turns out he's Sidwell's son. Well, that explains why Jason might have an issue. Carly tells Lucas what Jens did to her, and Lucas says someone should have told him all this sooner. Now there's no future for him and Marco. Carly admits that Marco wanting to work for Diane and Alexis is interesting, and Lucas agrees. He can't fall for another guy he can't trust after everything with Brad. Brooke Lynn stops by to get Chase for dance party, but he tells her he's not in the right headspace. He and Lois had a talk about danting his son, and it made him realize how deeply he wants to be a father. He feels like he let Brooke Lynn down. That's nonsense. She tells him she probably doesn't even deserve someone like him. Chase thanks her for lifting his spirits, then says he still wants to raise a child with her, whether biological or not. She feels the same, but no IVF with a donor. It turned into a nightmare for Molly and Christina. Chase agrees. Adoption seems like the best route, and Brooke Lynn wants to pay it forward after her own child found a loving home. He brings up the idea of adopting an older child, and Brooke Lynn is all for it. It worked for Emily and the Quartermains. Molly's on hold trying to get roadside assistance for a flat tire when Cody rides up on a horse. Well, howdy, ma'am. Need a hand? She's been on hold for 45 minutes, only to be told someone will be hours. Cody offers to change the tire himself. She'd be very grateful if he did. He gets to work while she nervously agrees to watch the horse. Unfortunately, her spare tire was also damaged, so now it's plan B, ride back on the horse. Molly hesitates a lot, but Cody talks her into it. She grabs her briefcase and they set off. Curtis tells Jordan to call if she ever needs anything, no questions asked. She thanks him and he heads out. Lucas tells Carly he needs time to think. That's progress, she says. The old Lucas would have used this as an excuse to walk away from Marco entirely. Alexis, noting their shared family dynamics, offers some advice. Walking this tightrope is harder than he thinks. One day, he may have to choose between his path and his father. She says she'll talk to Diane about keeping Marco on, but only after a very thorough background check. Chase and Brooke Lynn decide they're moving forward with adoption and share a kiss. Danny, Gio, and Rocco are out on the patio, chatting about all the buzz and speculation surrounding Sonny. Gio heads in to grab a soda, and Danny tells Rocco he's lucky his grandma didn't make an appearance. Honestly, it's probably better if Sonny skips the debate. Outside, Sonny tells Dante he's prepared to stand his ground if the referendum doesn't go his way. Today on General Hospital, Amy gets the boot from Liz's place, Sidwell tries to make a deal with Tracy, and Diane brings some tough news to Sonny. Amy walks in and announces to Liz, who's reading on the couch, that it's time for her nap. Liz replies that she's done enough napping. Lucky chimes in, suggesting Amy may be needed back at the hospital, and assures her he's got Liz covered. Amy agrees the hospital may be missing her, but insists Liz is still her most important patient, so she'll stick around until Liz is fully back on her feet. Liz discreetly sends a 911 help text to someone. Lucas soon shows up and quickly realizes Amy's doing the most again. Liz explains that Amy is wearing down Lucky's patience. Aiden's never going to want to come home with all this chaos, and she herself cannot handle another nap. Amy returns from an argument with Lucky in the downstairs makeshift bedroom they've set up. Lucas tells Amy she's needed at the hospital, and Liz thanks her for being a lifesaver. Amy asks who's going to look after Liz if she leaves. Lucky volunteers. He adds that if he needs any backup, he'll text Amy. Lucas promises to check in regularly. Amy finally heads out, followed shortly by Lucas. Later, Lucky tells Liz that it was a stroke of luck Lucas dropped by. Liz confesses she texted him, knowing Amy respects him as a doctor and would listen to him. She tells Lucky he doesn't have to stick around, but he insists he's committed. Liz wonders if he's doing this out of guilt. Lucky doesn't deny it. They both know there's truth to that. Meanwhile, Laura holds a press conference about the new Esplanade and its potential location. Curtis, Anna, Jordan, Drew, Ezra, and others attend. Laura explains that while she and Congressman Kane had differing views, she now supports the original site he proposed. Ezra, referring to Drew as Congressman Quartermain, disagrees and argues that since Drew secured the funding, he should have more input on the location. Laura reminds him the funds were frozen due to environmental concerns, and that the new proposed site would require acquiring private property through eminent domain, saying the public deserves to know who owns the land in question. None other than Sonny Corinthos. Laura responds that Sonny's ownership of the piers is public record. However, forcibly taking private land is a serious issue, and she believes the decision should lie with the public. Ezra claims the piers have been an eyesore and trouble spot for years. He argues that reclaiming the land would not only make way for the Esplanade, but also help clean up the area. Still, he thinks a public vote is a waste of time and money. Laura firmly replies that this is a matter that will affect every citizen, and it's the people who should decide. Ezra pointedly asks if her concern is really about the public or about Sonny, given their connection. Laura explains that she and Sonny share family ties, so to avoid any perception of bias, she's leaving the decision to the voters. Ezra turns to Jordan and asks for her perspective, given her former role as police commissioner. Jordan states she's already discussed the matter privately with the mayor, and while they respectfully disagree, she has decided to resign, effective immediately. Jordan walks away, and Anna follows after her. Anna questions the resignation, reminding Jordan that she and Laura made a strong team. Jordan replies that Laura's relationship with Sonny is raising concerns among their constituents, and she believes it's affecting public trust. Anna expresses strong disagreement, but Jordan makes it clear her mind is made up. As the press conference wraps up, Curtis tells Laura he never expected his suggestion to bring the issue to a vote would lead to all this. Laura replies that Ezra was intent on creating a spectacle, and Jordan's resignation took her completely by surprise. Still, she stands by her decision to let the people decide. Drew steps in and voices his support for Laura's approach, saying it was a smart move that shifts responsibility for the decision away from her. Curtis comments that Sonny is still a respected figure in the city, so nothing is certain. Laura lashes out at Drew, accusing him of undermining the project and letting his personal conflicts with his brother and Sonny overshadow the needs of the community. She storms off. Later, Curtis and Anna reflect on the fallout between Jordan and Laura. Anna wonders if Jordan truly reached her breaking point when it comes to Sonny's influence. Curtis, speaking from experience, says when Jordan reaches that point, she doesn't turn back. Anna adds that Jordan's concerns about Sonny's connection to elected officials aren't without merit. Curtis agrees, but says it's still unlike Jordan to resign so publicly and emotionally, given her respect for Laura. Anna begins to suspect there might be more going on beneath the surface. Meanwhile, in Drew's office, he and Ezra debrief on the press conference and Jordan's resignation. Drew suggests Laura's leadership is faltering, and people are beginning to distance themselves. He believes putting the issue to a vote will only make it clearer to the public where Laura's loyalties lie. Ezra sees this as a chance to challenge Laura politically, and Drew assures him that if he follows through, he'll have his full support once in office. Over in Laura's office, Jordan arrives with her formal resignation letter. Laura admits she wasn't expecting this to happen the way it did. Jordan responds that she needed to surprise her to make her position clear. They wish each other well, and Jordan leaves. At the Quartermain mansion, Sidwell visits Tracy and says he believes they have more in common than she might think. Tracy disagrees, but Sidwell says they both face a common challenge, Sonny Corinthos. She prompts him to explain. Sidwell shares that while he enjoys working with the team at Deception and providing them with insight, he's uncomfortable continuing business with Sonny's involvement. As the majority shareholder, Tracy has the power to make changes. Tracy replies that she never supported bringing Sonny into the fold, but her partners felt differently, and they've already closed the Zinsight deal. Sidwell points out that agreements can be renegotiated and hints that the price of Zinsight could change. He suggests she push the others to remove Sonny, though he admits she likely doesn't trust him either. Still, he believes she'll ultimately find working with him more beneficial than continuing to work with Sonny. With that, he takes his leave. Later, after hearing about the press conference, Sidwell calls Jordan. He's impressed by her resignation and the strength she showed standing up for her beliefs. He suggests they meet to discuss what's next for her. Diane, along with Marco, arrives at Sonny's place. Jason answers the door and lets them in. She introduces Marco Rios, their new partner, to Sonny and Jason. Sonny questions why Marco isn't using his father's last name. Acknowledges that Sidwell is his father, but explains they don't share a surname. Diane is stunned he never brought this up, but Marco replies he didn't think he needed to disclose his parentage during a job interview. Diane asks Marco to step out, as she needs a private word with her client. Once he's gone, Diane swears to Sonny that she had no idea who Marco's father was and says she'll let him go immediately. Sonny, however, has another plan. He's convinced Sidwell knows Diane is his attorney and suspects Marco was placed there intentionally. Jason agrees, and Sonny asks Jason, also one of Diane's clients, to have a conversation with Marco. Diane apologizes again, but Sonny reassures her it's not her fault and emphasizes that knowledge is power. Sonny reveals he asked her to come because of a vote that's been brought to his attention. Diane gets a text about Laura's press conference and realizes the vote concerns him and his properties. Sonny asks her to assemble a legal team and challenge it, but Diane advises against it, saying it would be a waste of resources. Fighting City Hall rarely ends well. Sonny argues this isn't political, it's personal. He believes Drew is behind it due to a personal vendetta. Diane understands, but warns that if the citizens of Port Charles vote to take control of his piers, there may be little legal recourse. Sonny insists his business operations rely on maintaining those piers. Diane tells him he may have to explore other options. Diane cautions Sonny that a courtroom win is unlikely, and his best chance is to win public support. He's been quietly generous to the city for years, but that may need to change. She advises him to step out of the shadows and address this challenge head-on. Sonny is hesitant, knowing this could expose him to scrutiny. Diane explains this isn't just about the piers, it's about public perception of him as a person. Later, Marco arrives at Diane's office, thinking she called for him. Instead, he finds Jason waiting, who reveals he asked him there, given Diane represents him legally. Jason believes Marco's father may have influenced his move to Port Charles and application to Diane's firm, but Marco insists his decisions are his own. He says he applied to 4 firms and received offers from 3. Jason finds the timing suspicious. Sidwell showed up around the same time as the incident at Sonny's apartment, and now Marco appears. 2 coincidences involving Sidwell are hard to ignore. Jason warns Marco he'll be keeping a close eye on him, and if Sidwell makes any moves against him or Sonny, he'll be ready to act. Just then, Lucas knocks and steps in, realizing he's interrupted something. He asks what's going on. Jason explains he's trying to get clarity from someone, but isn't having much luck. He suggests maybe Lucas will have better luck getting through. On the next General Hospital, a celebration is underway at the Quartermain mansion. Lulu asks Olivia and Sonny, "Where is the birthday boy?" Felicia tells Maxie this could be a positive step for their family. Riding a horse, Cody asks someone, "Anything I can do for ya?" Curtis tells Jordan, "My understanding comes with a price." Chase asks Brooklyn if she feels the same way. Lucas questions Carly if Jason is going after Marco. Marco turns to Alexis and asks if they're rescinding the job offer. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.